Married couples often assume that what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. But when it comes to purchasing and owning real property, the law isn't quite so simple. After a man died, his widow fought with her stepson over whether she was the sole owner of several parcels of land in Holmes versus Holmes. Susan and Francis Holmes married. Then, in 1906, Susan paid for a parcel of land, referred to as Parcel 1. However, the deed didn't just give Susan an interest in Parcel 1. The deed gave both Susan and Francis undivided one-half interests in the property. Susan was aware that the deed listed both her and Francis as the owners. Also, during their marriage, the couple purchased Parcels 2 and 3. To make the purchases, the couple used the community property funds, meaning funds that the couple owned together as part of their marriage. Then, the parcels were placed in a vested trust in Susan's name for the benefit of both Susan and Francis. A few years after the purchase of Parcel 1, Francis abandoned Susan and sold his interest in Parcel 1 to his son, George. Then Francis died. In Francis's will, he stated that George should receive Francis's interests in Parcels 2 and 3. Susan sued her stepson George to quiet the title of all 3 parcels, which meant she wanted the court to issue an order stating that George didn't have any ownership interest in the parcels. The court refused. With Parcel 1, the court noted Francis's name on the deed and that George paid Francis valuable consideration for his interest. So, George and Susan each owned undivided half interests in Parcel 1 as tenants in common. This meant that if one died, the other didn't automatically receive the other half, and both had the right to sell his or her half without the other's permission. With Parcels 2 and 3, the court held that the parcels were the community property of the marriage, and, after Francis's death, his interest passed to his son George pursuant to his will. As a result, Susan only owned a half interest in Parcels 2 and 3. Susan appealed to the California Court of Appeal.